I think, is Judge Rodriguez coming? Okay. So you will have to let me know when you're ready to start the second section. Because I have to mute video and the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then put you guys in, it's called break room. I put you in the break room, but we just, it's not gonna be recording, it's like a private room.
Okay. And but
Because the guy, Mr. Martinez,
yes.
is he gonna come? That's the thing, we have to be able to. So I'm gonna put you guys in a break room. You guys will be able to talk.
But he will be in the break room too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why are we getting feedback?
So what?
Why are we getting feedback?
Feedback? Are we getting ready now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you want?
This is on. Huh?
Can you hear me, Richard? Testing. 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 Hear me? Testing. Hello? Hello?
Mr. Davila. He said to, do you want me to call you back? What is the number? I'll call you. Bye-bye.
Based on that side. Meaning that it was before it was parked, as we parked in front. Or maybe that was the front part. That's the way you told me. Yeah. Because over here they changed it. They added more, that's why that sidewalk is double. Because it used to be for when you parked the English. Until it got too dangerous. So they eliminated that. They just did the kind of like. How you going?
Who's ready?
Okay. You ready? Hey. Ready?
Anyone have any commissioner?
Time to, it's time.
It's time to start.
Hold on. What that means.
What time is it?
1:31.
Okay. Okay, it's 10:30, I mean, it's 1:30. Commissioners Court of Jimbo County is now in session. Please rise for the national anthem. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Okay, any person not in the agenda may appear before the court at this time. That being any, we'll go to line item number 4. Approval of minutes from the previous meeting. There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
No, he has it down because it creates feedback.
Line item number 5, consider and approve of offer of purchase tax sales property, suit number 0812145898B, Fremont Independent School District, City of Fremont, Jimbo County, versus Maria Elena Lozano and Magdalena Farias. I think it's just one of those sales property. I think he's offering $2,500. I don't see any reason not to.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the bid as presented.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. And item number 6, consideration and approval of offer purchase sales tax property, suit number 130816209B, Bembo Palito Blanco Independent School District, Jimbo County, City of Alice Independent School District, Alice Water Authority, Brush Country Underground Water Conservation District, Jimbo County Fresh Water District versus Israel Garcia and Esmeralda Garcia. The same thing, I think it's, whatever, okay, let's see for, I think they're offering $500 for that together. Is there a motion?
Also moved. Accept the item to them.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Consider and approve budget amendment requested by Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Richard Dillon, to transfer $886.32 from line item 124513100, alternate supplies, to line item 12451573300, equipment. Everything okay, Noe?
No. We can't.
Okay. Can you all hear me? Everything is okay with request.
Okay, I'm making a motion to accept the item presented.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. And item 8, consider and approve budget amendment requested by Commissioner Precinct 2, Lieutenant Garcia Jr. to transfer $900 from gas, oil, and lubricants line item 126733300, equipment, repairs and maintenance, to line item 126734530.
Everything is okay with the request again, Commissioner's Court.
Second.
There's a motion and on the floor in a second.
Aye.
All against, same sign. Guys have it. Discuss and consider budget amendment request from Justice of the Peace, Precinct 5, Blue Spice, to transfer $104 from line item 12455225500 travels to line item 12455573305, equipment technology.
Everything is okay with the request, Commissioner's Court. Everything is fine.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Line item number 10. Okay, I think she's running a little late. We'll come back to line item number 10 and then line item number 11. Okay. Line item number 12, consider and discuss authorizing EDC Executive Director Larry Martinez to, yeah, I'm going to skip 10 and 11. We're going to line item number 12 because she's not here. She's running late. Consider and discuss authorizing EDC Executive Director Larry Martinez to negotiate requirements, terms, and conditions of possible ad tax rebate proposal for new business relocating in Jim Wells County. Okay, I think we go to executive session on this one. Okay, we go on, under government code number 551-087.
It was right there. I guess they went off camera somehow on their end.
Gentlemen, I just wanted you to know Barbara Canales is here.
Hey, Judge,
Hey there.
they're in
Am I-
they're in executive session on another issue.
Okay, great. Will you just let Maggie know and I'll come in whenever you need me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
In the meantime, I'm going to put you on mute, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
Can y'all hear me?
is that you, Margie?
Yes, I've been on, but I guess I hadn't noticed that I was on mute.
Okay, they're in executive session right now.
And I'm just driving into town. I had to assist Clary and Lewis with the babies right now. They just got discharged, so I'm just driving into Alice, but I'm heading to the courthouse.
Okay,
I wanna.
Margie? I wanted to speak to you today, Commissioners, in reference to your agenda item, which is number 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello?
You can tell us, we're on the next line item.
But that's not, 17 is not, that's,
I know, I mean, I'm sorry, it's, yeah, no, 17, that's for drainage stuff. Okay. We're back on regular session. Okay, line item number 13 first. Consider and take action, authorize the EDC Executive Director Larry Martinez to negotiate requirements, terms, and conditions of possible inventory and tax rebate proposal for new business relocating in Jim Wells County.
I'll take it.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We're gonna go to line item number 17. So we can get Judge Canales, find out.
Yes, Judge Canales will be here in just 1 second. Thank you.
Yes, okay, line item number 17 is discuss and consider passing resolution for Jim Wells County to participate in the Nueces County Regional Drainage Master Plan Study.
Thank you, Laura. Do I speak? Yes, because they've already. Hi, everybody.
this is what's on the.
Your finger is up. What are you ready?
Okay, who do I have on the speaker?
Hi, Barbara Canales, Nueces County Judge. Hi, everybody.
Yes, can you hear us okay?
Oh, yeah, y'all look great and sound great. I can see you real well.
Okay, I guess we're ready for you. Go
Okay,
ahead.
sounds good. Well, I know that you guys are almost done, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but let me start by saying that I'm glad that everybody is doing well in Jim Wells and here in Nueces as well. We've kept our numbers low. And we were even the subject of a New York Times article this weekend. So that's kind of an interesting subject matter that we've been able to work together to reduce the spread of this terrible virus. But it's time for us to at least spend some of our time working on county business and getting ready for budget and dealing with all of the things that come our way during the summer months, including hurricane season. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you today, probably the most important, is that Nueces County seeks to really start thinking about that famous word resiliency. After Hurricane Harvey, we all recognize that, we need better flood mitigation control measures. And a year ago, in 2019, the legislature saw fit to put a lot of money into the Texas Water Development Board, 1.7 billion to be exact. And they actually stated that they wanted the basins, the watershed basins, and the counties that make up those basins to understand how water moves, not for the 100-year storm, not for the 250, not even for the 500, but for the 1,000-year storm. Because when it rains around here in South Texas, we just have all kinds of problems. So many issues, from agricultural issues to critical infrastructure, just people not being able to go to work or school because they're flooded in. And it happened to us in Nueces just a week ago when we had those bad rains. And like I tell everybody, you can't just think about drainage when it rains. You've got to really understand that the problems have always been with us, and particularly along Highway 44, they're exceptionally bad. So what we have done is over the past, since the legislative session ended, we started to focus on how we would go after our fair share of grants so that we could study our basin. And our basin is called the Nueces Basin, but it does encompass your county, Jim Wells, ours, and Nueces, and Clayburgh. And the water moves all the way to Baffin Bay. And that's really important because nationally, and definitely in the state of Texas, Baffin Bay has become the #1 focus for environmental protection, because they have a real high level of nitrogen in the water, causing all kinds of environmental troubles. But our water is coming up top from our basin and even further west than Jim Wells. But the way to properly study it is at least to join hands with the counties that are adjacent to you and in your basin. So what we've done is, once the voters in November passed the election, giving the money, we hired Susan Roth, a civil engineer, and as a matter of fact, the president of the Society of Civil Engineers in Texas, and a former member of the Lower Colorado River Authority, and somebody who was an expert in Water Development Board. And we said, Susan, come help us figure out how we could put together our own drainage study. And so right now, we come to you to say we would really appreciate, but most importantly, we need your support and your resolution to join with us in putting forth what's called the abridged or the shortened application on June 15th to the Texas Water Development Board. It's going to sound ominous, but don't panic yet till I tell you the good part. It's a $2.25 million grant. It's a 75-25% cost share. If we were to be awarded the 2.25 million, we would have $562,000 of money that we would have to put out. Now, the good news is that they let you do it in two ways. You can put out hard cold cash, but you can also do in kind, and you can split the work many ways. So what we've done is we asked Susan to prepare some maps to show the area that we would study. And you might say to yourself, well, Barbara, we're always studying things. Well, let me give you some peace of mind. We've never done this before. Not in the history of water, water, being important to our region for our communities and our crops, have we ever done a comprehensive basin study. So we're not duplicating the process. We've never done it before. And after Harvey, it's the best time in the world to do it. And we would partner with Texas A&M's Water Center for the very fancy 3D modeling, along with hiring a state-of-the-art engineering company who that's all they do is this very fancy 3D modeling. So everybody who has a drainage project, commissioners, if you have a drainage project in your area, and you've got to, because every county commissioner in South Texas should probably have a good drainage project. There's really no way that you can absolutely know that your drainage project is going to produce results without this type of modeling. It's just, it's the cart before the horse. You absolutely have to have this type of understanding of how the water moves and why it moves in a certain way with certain volumes before you really start getting into the grant part of creating major detention ponds, major land acquisition. Now you may say, well, Barbara, we've always done detention ponds. It's not like we need a study to tell us about that. And you're right. To some extent, you're able to localize your problems and you're able to put Band-Aids on those problems. But to really help yourself so that we are doing what the state wants us to do, which is to provide flood control for the storms that we are now seeing as super storms, this is the only right way to do it. And so what we come to you to ask is and I don't know if Susan's on the phone. So Susan Roth is actually joining me on the phone, and she's got some maps to share with you and a breakdown. And I think you've been provided that information. I hope we think so. If not, we're going to get it to you immediately through Michael. But we have a breakdown, and the breakdown is that Nueces would put in $262,000 in cash. And I don't have my cheat sheet, so I'm guesstimating here, Susan. And then we also have an in-kind contribution, which would mean our engineers, our own folks, our own staff would also put in money. We propose that Clayburg also put in some money and some in-kind services. And we propose that Jim Wells put in some money and some in-kind services. I believe the amount of money that we asked you all to do was $50,000. And the good news is that's over 18 months. So it's 2 fiscal cycles. So think of it as $25,000 if we get the grant in 2021 and $25,000 in 2022. And you can get those funds a multitude of ways. You can ask your friends at the city to help. You can ask your drainage districts or water districts or a multitude of places to get those dollars. But look, the state of Texas says, I'll pay for most of it, but you guys have to have some skin in the game too. And that's how they make sure that it's fair. What do you get for your money? You're going to get a report to end all reports. You're going to be able to take this report and you're going to be able to understand how water moves from your county into our county, into Clayburg County. And when we figure out how water is moving or not moving properly, you're going to be able to address your problems by writing the right grants. And I promise you, with the science behind you, your success rate of receiving those dollars is a lot greater than not having the study at all. And so again, for me, it all started back in January of 2019 when the legislature said, we need to get Texas to get their act together. And of course, it was really driven because of Harris County and Houston and Harvey and all the terrible flooding and the tragedies. That's what started the conversation. But what South Texas was able to say is, hey, don't forget us. And they named us in the legislation as a basin that should be studied. And like I said, water doesn't respect the county line. So it doesn't do me any good to really study myself. I've got to be able to understand how water is moving upstream and downstream if I'm going to really affect change here. And again, I think Susan has, we hired her to get this accomplished, to help us write the grant. She thinks our success ratio is high if people will join hands. So far, we have terrific support. We have a letter coming from the Port of Corpus Christi because they're very worried about drainage around industry. And we want industry for our region because our region puts many counties to work. Industry puts lots of our county citizens to work, not just Nueces. And we have the support of the city of Corpus Christi, and we hope after this week, but the city manager is in support of it, and it'll come to council this week, tomorrow. And we also have the Drainage District number 2, which is in Robstown, supporting it, and the South Texas Water Center supporting it, and that's Texas A&M Kingsville. And so we same day, you and Judge Madrid were holding court, and so we're bringing our pitch to you directly to ask questions. And I would really love it if, I don't know if there's a way to get Susan to show the maps, or if someone could tell me whether or not you have the information in front of you. But all we're looking for right now is to get us to June 15th is 2 things. It's a letter of support that I hope you would do for a neighbor no matter what. And then a second is a resolution that would come before you today to say, if we get this grant, we would commit to putting forth the dollars so that we can also share in the study, the information, and that you would use it to get more dollars and more grants. And what I can offer is that Nueces has already paid for our consultant. You don't have to hire anybody. All the work would be done, but the hard cold cash is part of the component. The state's not going to let us get away with not putting that in. But as I said, 25,000 one year, 25,000 the next, and it would not even start until really late 2021 where we would need the dollars. And I would do anything in my power to help you, solicit by going to the other groups in your community to explain the value and the importance of understanding drainage, because it means a lot of loss of money if we don't get this right. And with that, I'll yield and ask if you all have any questions. And Susan is on the phone too, so you can ask her very technical questions or specific. And I want to make sure that she also has the opportunity to correct me, since I didn't have my notes, if I said anything wrong from memory.
Okay, commissioners, any
I
questions?
got a question. Judge, Enrique Gonzalez, Precinct 4, Commissioner.
I-
We met last year in Bobstown and we were discussing, I showed you some pictures of the Fremont area, 281, how it flooded real bad with the hurricane. And I was wondering whether this has been extended to the area of Brooks County and Duval County. And if so, would that be able to reduce the amount of money that we have
To pay, yeah, that's a great question. Susan, can you chime in? Brooks County and Duval County are just west of Jim Wells, and they have a tremendous history of drainage problems. Are they also in the same watershed basin?
I would say so.
For right now, I think Jim
She may
Wells
not
County.
be in.
Michael, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to let you all know that the map that Judge Canales is referring to is going to be on page 2 of your handout. The resolution is page 1. And then there is a
Will you text her?
page 3 is a focus of just Jim Wells County. Page 2 is the whole basin. And I don't believe it includes Duval and Brooks. It's simply Jim Wells, Clayburgh, and Nueces.
I can certainly ask her. Oh, there she is.
Oh, I'm on. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
Susan.
Oh, good. Yes, and to answer your question, and just to kind of go back and reiterate what Judge Canales had just mentioned, this study or this project, oh good, there we go. This study, this project that this application we're putting together it'll just focus on just the 3 counties. It'll be Jim Wells, Nueces County. Nueces will be the lead applicant, and then Clayburgh County as well. And those 3 counties make up, or I would say, we're primarily focusing on Baffin Bay watershed and also the South Corpus Christi watershed. And so because of that, those other counties that you mentioned, they are not located, or I should say, especially Baffin Bay watershed is not in their jurisdictional area.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps kind of answer questions.
Yeah, and the one thing we can do, Commissioner Gonzalez, is really try to set a model here too. And I'm happy to work with the judge in Duval and in Brooks. We've got to get a template, if you will, so that everyone figures out, hey, that's what they did. We need to do the same thing. And I wouldn't even mind, kind of scratching our heads together here as a team, seeing how we can help our friends in Fremont, because that's Representative Canales, the other Canales territory. And we don't know, what's going to happen in redistricting, but it could very well be that, we start sharing a lot more than just last names. He could come all the way from Fremont over to Nueces. You just never know. And so let me do some more investigating, because the worst thing that can happen is that we leave out our neighbors. We probably need to give them some guidance so that they can also apply for these types of grants. And by the way, the Water Development Board is historically more well-known for their low-interest loans. So this is a very special time. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you're wondering why I didn't come to you before. So the state's been a little, there, as they say, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. We literally got the rules about 30 days ago. We knew this program was coming, but they were rulemaking. And so we thought with COVID, honestly, there was going to be much more time to go and work, kind of work it. it didn't work out that way. And in fact, I'm bringing it on my commissioner's court on Wednesday. So I don't want you to feel like you were last. You actually beat me. It hasn't even come before our commissioner's court yet. But it just had to do with the fact, I guess the state has these dollars and they see it as a way to help communities and get good dollars in their hands for these types of projects. And again, we've never, ever, ever been able to do this before. We've had drainage studies, but we've never been able to do this comprehensively. So it gets, sometimes you're given opportunities like this, and I don't want to miss out. But we know with everything everybody's facing, every dollar is precious. And I promise you this, I would not be coming to you to ask this if I didn't think that it had way more dollars on a rate of return than the money that we're asking you to spend. And Susan can help you figure out how to deliver that in-kind service piece. And one of the ways we thought about doing it was through Texas A&M's Water Center. They can provide some of the, if you don't have engineering or public works to help us on the in-kind piece, we can use Texas A&M to help you guys meet that burden, perhaps.
In fact, Judge, would you like me to show a PowerPoint slide, the summary?
Yes, could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
This is Noe Gamas, I'm the county auditor. Judge Canales, how are you doing?
Well, thank you, sir.
I just want to make sure the 50,000 is in cash, correct?
Would you repeat that? You blanked out just for a second.
The 50,000 is in cash, correct? And we're going to be working on budget pretty soon, so we'd have to put 25,000 for 2021 and 25,000 for 2022.
Susan, can you help me just to triple check that?
I just want to make sure because we're coming up on budget and Commissioner's Court still has to vote on it. I just want to make clear that I understand.
Right. Susan, is that timing accurate?
That would be correct because the study, in fact, I don't know if it helps. I can show you guys just a couple of PowerPoint slides really quick, and it'll kind of give you a little bit of an overview of the timing of things as well as the overall budget. Would that be helpful?
That would be nice.
Okay, here, let me, I can share the screen with y'all. Oh, can y'all give me access to share the screen with y'all?
Give her access.
Just share her screen.
Okay, here we go.
There you go.
Okay, this here.
It's Jackie. Can you tell me? I'm on this call.
There we go. Hopefully y'all can see this. This gives you, this is just a quick overview about this new program. And like Judge Canales was mentioning, this is a brand new program that Water Development Board has just, it just released the guidelines like, gosh, over about a month or so ago. This is all brand new. It's all just kind of coming before us very quickly. In fact, applications were originally due on May 14th, and they've given us an extension to June 15th. And we're still just quickly trying to pull this all together because this is a wonderful program. It's first of its kind to offer. The amount of grant money that they're going to be providing is amazing. And this, we're going to be looking at Category 1 projects. Of course, with the timing, once we submit the abridged application, it's a two-step process. We submit those on the abridged application will be due next Monday. Then Water Development Board staff, they review, they rank the projects, and the ones that rank high enough are the ones, this is very competitive, the process. They are the ones then that receive the grant money. It looks like then afterwards, after that, the second part of the process is we submit a full application that will be due in August. And then after that, it looks like right now they're tentatively planning on funding being, the commitments being given out then in October of this year. So we wouldn't start the project probably till really late this year as far as getting a consultant on board, getting the project scope, the scope of work, everything put together. And then so from there, the project itself will be an 18-month time period. So I think to answer your question on as far as the timing with the budget, I think it would be fine if you did 25,000 in 2021 and then another 25,000 in 2022, if that kind of helps. And moving on,
It
really
does.
quick.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Now, y'all slow me down if I'm going too quickly through things, through the information. This gives you just the goals of the study. And again, we're looking at Baffin Bay and South Corpus Christi watersheds. And just like Judge Canales had mentioned, it's not the jurisdictional boundaries that we're looking at. It's really watershed boundaries that is what makes up the study area. So we're focusing on those two watersheds. And we're going to be developing hydrologic and hydraulic models. So that will, like I say, it'll give you guys a 3D model of the hydrology and the hydraulics. Again, just the benefits of the study, like just to kind of reiterate some of the, I want to say, just the really key points that Judge Canales had mentioned. Again, it's wonderful if you guys can all work together. Having all three counties work together in a partnership, you definitely are able to leverage, I want to say, I call it, you get quite the bang for the buck because you all can put in a little bit of cash to show, that you've got skin in the game, like Judge Canales mentioned. But at the same time, the return is getting a 75% grant for a 2.25 project budget, million dollar project budget is pretty amazing. Moving on, here's the proposed project budget. It's 2.25 million, the total amount. The grant funding from Water Development Board is 75%. So the grant itself is 1,687,500. The applicant match would need to be 25% of that total project budget, which that amount is 562,500. That can be made up of cash and in-kind services as well. Water Development Board, they do not have this listed anywhere in their guidance manual, but in the past, I've been working on these types of regional projects for trying to get grant funding through Water Development Board for, it's been at least 20 years now I've been doing these. And so everyone that I've been involved with, they don't write it in their guidelines, but they always say there needs to be at least 50%, at least that amount for cash. And again, it just shows your commitment level. It shows that you're very serious to the board, to Water Development Board. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it. And then that match, that 562,500, that will be shared by all three counties. This gives you a table of a summary of kind of how we've broken this out by cash and in-kind for each of the three counties. And you'll see under each county, and this is just the initial list. This is not, I want to say, the final list. I don't want to leave people out, but I want to try to make sure it was just kind of an initial list of like, who could be some really key stakeholders that are located in those watersheds or that are impacted by those watersheds that would be interested in maybe participating in this study. And just by coming to the meetings, reviewing the draft document, providing review comments, I want to say those are the primary ways of providing in-kind service. And it's loaded hourly rates. And again, we would really want your involvement. And so these are, especially for like Jim Wells, we've got City of Alice and City of Orange Grove I've put on the list. I'm sure there may be some others that you guys would want to have involved. And so this kind of shows you Nueces County, they're going to be putting in the majority of the cash because a lot of the work will be, there will be quite a bit of work that's done in their county, especially because of the two watersheds. And that's 262,500, and they're going to be putting in also 70,000 in-kind service. For Jim Wells, just based on the size of the watershed that's located in your county, as well as just the stream miles. And I'll show you some maps here in a minute. And about what I'm talking about. We're looking at 50,000 cash contribution and 30,000 in-kind service contribution for you guys. Now for Clayburgh, we've got listed 100,000 for them for cash contribution and 50,000 of in-kind service. So this gives you kind of a nice, I would say, overall summary. You can kind of see what everyone, what everyone would be contributing for their part. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if anyone has questions before maybe I move on to the math.
No, you answered my questions. This is Noe.
Oh, good. Okay, great. I don't know, does anybody else have any other questions before I move on to the exhibit?
These funds are allocated. When does the study start?
When would the study start? When would the study start? If we were to receive it?
You know what? It looks like we would probably receive funding, like the actual grant funds. Looks like that would happen probably in October. And again, this is tentative because this is such a new program for Texas Water Development Board. This is kind of what they're thinking right now. That it'll be probably October that when we would see the funding. I bet Nueces County, I'm trying to think, Barbara, just with going through the proper RFQ process and everything, I'm thinking we wouldn't get a consultant probably on board. I bet everything really wouldn't kick off till probably either, I don't know, it'll be hard with maybe in December, but then again, you have the holidays and everything. It just depends.
January.
Maybe December, might January. Yeah. So if we kick it off in January, then it'll be 18 months will be the time period.
It's a long process, and you think to yourself, well, I mean, how complex is it? It's going to be a very in-depth, complex study. And then with this, we're going to be able to help all of our communities inside our counties. And so just so you know, when it says Jim Wells County, theoretically, I'm not saying they would do this, but theoretically, let's say Alice said, well, I'll, out of your 50,000, 25,000 the first year, I can help you with 5,000. I mean, that's a possibility. We just didn't want to presume anything. And most of the time drainage is left to the counties. So anyway, there's the opportunity, I think, to seek a way to bring those dollars together for you. But we didn't want to presume. So we just put that 50,000 there as in its entirety. But we probably wouldn't get started till next year just because it's going to take us that long to get it done. And any grant has to go through that RFP process. So that's that fair process that, is required by local government code, and all these grants want to make sure that we're following all the right processes. So we won't be choosing anybody special that we know. It's going to be through the right process, and they'd have to have some tremendous expertise to bring to the table. But we feel very confident that Texas has those people. And in fact, the Texas Water Development Board already has given us some ideas on the type of groups that they would find acceptable.
Any more questions? We do have a resolution. Commissioner Gonzalez will read it out. Is there a motion on the floor to accept the resolution?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as presented.
Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution passes.
Whereas Texas Water Development Board recently opened the acceptance period for abridged applications for the new flood mitigation financial assistance program. This funding program is based on the adopted changes related to the establishment of flood financial assistance by recent statutory amendments to Chapter 15 and 16 of the Texas Water Code, and was published previously in the Texas Register. Whereas the Nueces County Regional Drainage Master Plan study would be conducted in order to adequately evaluate the Bakken Bay and South Corpus Christi watersheds in Jim Wells, Nueces, and Claiborne counties. Whereas Jim Wells County plans to participate in the Nueces County Regional Drainage Master Plan study and will contribute the necessary cash and in-kind services listed below toward the 25% match required for Category 1 projects of the Texas Water Development Board Flood Infrastructure Fund program. Now therefore be it resolved that Jim Wells County supports and participates in an application submitted by Nueces County for a regional drainage master plan for Jim Wells, Nueces, and Clayburgh County. Jim Wells County also grants the authority for Nueces County to enter into a contract with the Texas Water Development Board for the proposal regional study if this project is successfully selected for grant funding. Jim Wells County will commit local matching funds of $50,000 cash and in-kind contributions of $30,000 towards the proposed regional study. The scope of the study that pertains to Jim Wells County will include a hydrology analysis of streams highlighted in the attached exhibit to determine the quantity of stormwater flows that contributes to the Baffin Bay watershed.
Thank you so much, Judge, for bringing this project to us.
Thank you for including it.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
You muted.
I just wanted to say thank you again, and I'll stay in touch with you. Let's cross our fingers, see how our application turns out. And actually, we'd love to come over, Susan and I, when she's back here in Nueces, come over and really show you the maps. There's going to be a great opportunity for students to learn through this process. And we want to harness the best and brightest minds of South Texas. I'm not going to forget our local folks through this if we're successful. So I just want to say thank you and cross your fingers. Light a little velita.
Yes, thank you all very much.
Okay.
Greatly appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we go on to, we're gonna go back to line item number 11. Consider and take action to authorize.
I'm sorry, did we do number 10?
No.
No, we already did 10,
Can we have a skip that?
oh, okay. Go back to line item number 10. Consider and approve budget amendment request by Commissioner Precinct 1 Martin Gonzalez to transfer $3,500 from account number 621-42700 conference to account number 6252900 land.
Commissioners Court, I looked over the request and the request is good. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Line item passes. Okay. Line item number 11, consider and take action to authorize Jim Wells County to enter into a earnest money contract for the purchase of property located on Johnson Street, adjacent to Precinct 1 Yard and Commissioner's Precinct 1 property ID number 1221501-30000, currently owned by Rene Villagrán. Marty?
Authorize Jim Wells County to enter.
Is,
And this is a date.
it doesn't say the amount either.
The earnest money contract, is it 1,000, Michael?
It's usually, yeah, I think that's how much we put up last time on the last property. It's usually 1,000 or 1,500. It's just basically some money to, to put down to show that, you're serious about going forward with the transaction. I've already reached out to Guaranteed Title, which handled the last transaction for us, but I haven't heard back from them yet.
And this, like you said, Jason, is right behind our yard. Our yard is really crowded and also so it'll allow us to move our fence back to Johnson Street.
It's a good buy.
Yeah, and they contacted us and they wanted more and we negotiated their price.
I thought that when you bought that land over there, the finish was used in the
Well, anyway, there's a motion, is there a second? There's a motion and a second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, ayes have it. Okay. For the record, I agree. Anyway, now we go to line item number 14. Discuss and consider request from Carmen Guerra to review and renew Xerox agreement for Jim Wells County. Is she there?
Yes, good afternoon. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, Ms. Guerra, you're on.
Okay, well, good afternoon. You all should have received a packet that goes over and reviews the current lease agreement that will be expiring this month. I put together basically an average of the volumes, the equipment, the monthly costs per equipment, and reviewed everything and did a summary of what the county is currently spending monthly on the machines district through the whole courthouse. And then I put together on our new state of Texas DIR contract, a comparable proposal that would be new equipment for the departments. I did get with Robert and some of the departments, and we did make some changes on some of the current equipment, a little bit of an upgrade. But overall, everyone is basically getting the equipment comparable to what they currently use, the features, the supplies, the maintenance, of course, in-house, in-service, the networking that our analysts will help provide of course with Robert as well. I think everyone should have a copy of the summary that lists the current costs for the county and the proposed costs for the county, and then the overall savings in going into a new lease with Xerox. I don't know if you all have had a chance to look over it, but I wanted to see if there were any questions on any specifics having to do with the old agreement and then entering into a new agreement with Xerox. Does anyone have any questions? Take into account also that all the equipment proposed is new equipment, new models in comparison to the current equipment that's in place. This is a new DIR contract, so the equipment on the DIR contract are comparable to the equipment you currently use, but they're all specifically new models. So it won't be the same series that
You finished with best your proposal.
Brian, you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I lost you for a while there. You should have received in your packet the annual compilation report prepared by Raul Hernandez and Company, our accountant, which we're required to submit to you each year from the ESD1 in Sandia. And I have no real presentation to make, it's just to make sure that you did see it and if there were any questions. We submit one each year about this time.
There's a test for here. We're looking at the numbers. Is there any question there?
I'm sorry, what was that?
It seems like everything's in order.
Oh yeah, no, we're doing quite well. You know, we started off the year with a good fund balance, and we've over the last few years have managed to. We're working to always make sure that we have at least 1 quarter's, 4 months worth of operating. Should taxes be delayed, services won't be impacted, and that's kind of where we're at now. And so, barring that we have a light season and we don't have to buy a new truck, we'll be all right. But we used to submit a full audit to you, but the state changed the law, and that if we receive less than $250,000 a year, we could go to a simplified reporting by the accountant. And so this is what is required now because our tax revenue is less than 100,000. So it's a formality to present it to you, and here we go.
Well, I think everything seems to be fine, Brian. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll talk to y'all later. Be safe.
Okay, line item 16. Discuss and approve to apply for Corona Supplement Emergency Relief Program for state, county, local government for the Jim Wells County Constables. Office from the administrated, it will be administrated by the Office of the Governor. I'm sorry. I guess it's a grant. I think they're requesting computers.
Hi, Commissioners. Hi, can you hear me? Yes, it's Michelle. Hi, how are you? I hope y'all are doing well. I was actually, Mr. Silva is coordinating this, and I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties, but can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. So what this grant is of course it is coming out from the Office of the Governor, and it is we are requesting to submit the application for the Constable's Office to procure its COVID-19 mitigation software that comes with the equipment. Now, the equipment that the constables would be receiving, they are going to be antimicrobial tablets. But the most important piece of this is the software that's integrated into it. And so I've reached out and made sure that these would be eligible items. And Austin is telling me that as of right now, they do fall under the criteria. And especially now with the antimicrobial, that's going to be like an extra layer of safety for the commissioners in their units. And so what the software does is if there are any minor incidents, a lost phone, and a citizen wants to make a report, they're able to use that software instead of having to go and expose themselves or expose others to COVID. They would be able to do that report via the software. So it's really a video conferencing platform, something like your Zoom, what we're using now, but for law enforcement purposes. We're also
Provider number 60 is presented.
Lisa, yeah. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Line item passes.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, line item number 18. Okay, consider and take actions to approve collision paid use and purchase price agreement between Jimos County and Donato Munoz.
That's one of,
This is,
okay, yeah, that's not, I am not, that's for precinct 4. Taking up that one, the other one's already kind of running kind of low on collision, so I'm transfer over now.
okay. Your motion?
And how much are you?
It's the same rate as the other 150.
150?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion passes. Line item 19. Consider and take action to approve interlocal agreement between Jimos County Precinct 4 and City of Alice providing mutual assistance with street maintenance and debris removal.
That's an item that we're working with the city of Alice on the areas that I represent in the south side. And I've asked the city manager for, allowing that we have the brush truck and we could be able to help them and if there's anything we can do. It's basically the same thing we have with Fremont and Martin did with San Diego. So we're.
Okay, we do have a interlocal agreement, Mosby. Yeah, go ahead. I think we can read, from the Construed, that's okay.
Jimos County and City of Alice interlocal agreement. This agreement is between Jimos County and the City of Alice for the purpose of providing for shared assistance with road maintenance and debris removal. This agreement is made and entered into by and between the City of Alice and Jimos County. Whereas pursuant to the provisions of the Texas Government Code 791, a local government body may contact or agree with one or more local governmental bodies for the performance of governmental functions in which the contracting parties are mutually interested. And whereas Jimos County and the City of Alice can deal more efficiently with shared road maintenance resources and debris removal equipment by the coordination of efforts between entities through an interlocal agreement. Whereas this agreement states the purpose, terms, rights, objectives, duties, and responsibilities of the city and county. Now therefore be it resolved that for and in consideration of the mutual promises, covenants, and agreements set forth in this agreement, Jimos County and the City of Alice enter into this agreement under the following terms and conditions. The purpose of the agreement is to reestablish an interlocal agreement to deal more efficiently with shared road repair resources by the city and county. Pursuant to order or resolution of the city and county governing body, the parties to this agreement have entered into this agreement to form an interlocal agreement to aid and assist in road maintenance and debris removal services through the shared use of resources and equipment by the City of Alice and Jimos County, to provide employees of the agencies involved authority and to provide for the payment of expenses incurred in the performance of activities. Consideration. For purposes of this agreement, the City of Alice shall provide machinery and personnel for use in road maintenance and assistance in debris removal. Jimos County agrees to provide materials and resources to use in such projects. Upon the agreement of Jimos County and the City of Alice, each shall assign adequate personnel in order to carry out the purpose of this agreement. All personnel assigned shall remain the employees of the party making the assignment and shall not be considered as employees, agents, or servants of any other party to the party making the assignment shall pay all compensation for services said personnel. The party incurring same shall pay all other supplies and expenses incurred by the agency. The City of Alice shall have sole discretion in the assignment of personnel employed by the City of Alice. Dumas County shall have the sole discretion in the assignment of personnel employed by the Dumas County. Each entity shall have the sole discretion in the assignment of vehicles and other equipment and supplies owned and under the control of respective entities. Extent of authority. Any personnel assigned by a party to this agreement shall be empowered to aid the other in enforcement of all laws and ordinances applicable in the jurisdictions of the city of Boyer County. Employee status. An employee that is regularly employed by the participating agency shall remain an employee of said agency, and the assigning party shall remain solely responsible for the health, safety, acts, or omissions of that assigned officer. To the extent authorized by law, each party hereto shall indemnify the other parties for any and all liability of whatsoever nature caused by an employee of the indemnifying party. Compensation of assigned personnel. The party employing the personnel assigned shall pay all the wages and disability payments, pension payments, damages to equipment and clothing, and medical expenses incurred by the assigned officer in the performance of assigned activities. Civil liability and indemnification. It is further agreed that in the event any employee assigned shall be cited as a defendant party to any civil lawsuit, state or federal, arising out of the Employees Act while engaging in authorized activities, the assigned employee shall be entitled to the same benefits from the assigned party that such employees would be entitled to receive had such civil action arisen out of an official act within the scope of the assigned employee's duties as an employee of the agency from which the employee was assigned. It is further agreed that each party to this agreement shall hold every other party, and that the parties, employees, and agents harmless from any and all liability, including but not limited to any property, physical or non-physical damages, or loss incurred by third parties or by employees or agents of any particular party or by any participation party of whatsoever nature caused. This whole harmless agreement shall also include, but is not limited to, omissions or acts of negligence, gross negligence, or intentional acts as a result of any employee of any party in the performance of authorized activities. Assignment to and performance of authorized activities of the participation agency by an employee shall not constitute services of another county, municipality, department, or agency, so as to make such assigned employees a borrowed servant of any other party to this agreement. An employee assigned to perform activities of the participation agency shall be considered to be performing services on behalf of any other party to this agreement. If a court of competent jurisdiction shall hold that any employee assigned is a borrowed servant of another party to this agreement, then the party who assigned the employee shall indemnify and hold harmless such party as provided above. Any notice provided for under the terms of this contract by either party to the other shall be in writing and may be effected by personal delivery in writing or registered or certified mail, return receipt requested to the city manager of the city of Alice or county judge of Dumas County as applicable. This agreement shall be interpreted, construed, and governed by the laws of the state of Texas and shall be enforceable in any court of competent jurisdiction. In the event that any section, subsection, or paragraph of this agreement is held invalid or enforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such termination shall not affect the remainder of the agreement and shall be given full force and effect as is said invalid section, subsection, or paragraph have not been included in herein. The captions or headings in this agreement are for convenience only and in no way define, limit, or describe the scope or intent of any provision hereof. This agreement shall be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the state of Texas. The obligations and undertaking of each of the parties to this agreement shall be performable within the participation agency's jurisdiction. In case any one or more of the provisions contained in this agreement shall be held to be invalid, illegal, or unenforceable in any respect, such invalid, illegal, or unenforceable provisions shall not affect any other provision of this agreement, and this agreement shall be construed as if such invalid, illegal, or unenforceable provision had never been contained herein.
I just have a correction there in the, I believe it was back in paragraph 2. It said, something about material.
Paragraph 2 says, for the purpose of this agreement, the city of Alice shall provide machinery and personnel for use in road maintenance.
For the city of Alice. The city of Alice will provide material, right?
Shall provide machinery.
Okay.
Machinery.
Backwards.
And you provide the materials and
Yeah,
resources.
they supply the material, we supply the material.
You provide the materials and resources.
No, they provide the material, we provide the machinery.
The machinery.
Yeah, it's, we're not providing.
Well, if the general county agrees to provide materials and resources,
Okay, they need to exclude materials now.
okay, so you're gonna have to,
Exclude machinery.
Yeah, I think what, what we refer to.
Yeah.
The county.
And county provide machinery first, you know, for use.
Yes, and they provide.
They provide
Any material.
okay, you all provide the machinery then?
And the city of Alice will provide.
I'm not playing.
Okay, okay.
I voted in the.
Anyway, and then on top of where it begins, there's the, let's see, right here, where it says Jim Wells County, right in precinct 4.
But it's a big town.
Yeah, well, it's gotta have precinct 4 on it.
Well, Michael said it, that's a.
Yeah, well, it's gotta be,
He's shaking his head up right now.
it's gonna have to be precinct 4 like the other one.
Can you put Michael on?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Michael,
Yeah,
okay, the local agreement, it's between precinct 4 and the city of Alice.
yeah, even though this, this pertains mostly to
So
precinct
that's
4.
what the agenda item says.
Yeah, the agreement is always with the county. The county makes agreements. The precinct cannot make individual agreements. But this one is directed to precinct 4 because he's the one that's initiating it. But truly, I mean, it could even include the portions of your precinct that overlap with the city of Alice. Margie's got some parts I think all 4 of you have parts that overlap with the city of Alice. So this agreement could work for any of you, but of course it's Commissioner Huicho Gonzalez that's putting it forward. But just like when we buy property, we don't buy it in the name of the precinct. We buy it in the name of the county. So the agreements are in the name of the county. I know in the past there have been some old forms that reference a precinct agreement, but we're trying to update them so that the agreements always read the agreements with the county.
There's gonna be expenses, Michael, here, and I want to make sure that they go to the right places.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I'm saying that there's going to be expenses that need to go to the right precincts, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I think the auditor's office takes care of it. Noe, maybe you can help me on this, but you all assign them to whoever is requesting it, correct?
Are we talking about what we're gonna pay?
My budget can't stand those types of expenses, I barely have for my own county roads.
Yeah.
If we're told how much each RMB has done for the expenditures, we can break it down.
You,
Usually there's an expense, like, I'm to say, if I have an expense,
yeah,
I submit it.
yeah, but,
He has an expense.
yeah, but you submit it to your CBO.
Right, in my.
Yeah, that's what I mean, we need to clarify that it cannot go to the general fund, or.
No, it goes to
But we're not using it for service, we're using.
Yeah, I know that you have one with the free money,
Yeah, but
and
we would
everything's
equip-
cool, but I know that when they say county, that includes all of it, and,
But it isn't something down.
yeah, it comes from Road and Bridge 4, in this case. So could we put something in there in writing, on these, local agreements, Mike?
Well, if any other people don't want to participate, I'll have to say no.
Michael, I have a question. Michael,
Because I know they,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, since all of us participating in buying the paving equipment, and I spend a lot of money fixing it out of my budget, and I send it off to whoever next, and I will provide my guy to run the machine. I don't see it right that we share that paving equipment to interlocal, because we all have to do our own roads, and I don't have enough time of weather. Rain gets in the way, and then when it gets cold, we have to stop it. We didn't finish. A lot of people don't finish. I'm just saying, we have to include it in there.
Are we talking about our paving, are we talking about the paving again?
Whatever needs to get done, and we can help them out, I'm more than happy to be able to help them out. In the southern part of the area where I represent, there's a lot of brush issues,
Yeah.
and that's one of the main concerns. But
The paving, go ahead.
They just bought, and they're asking for help on
Yeah.
with rollers and stuff like that.
And I understand that, it just seems to me that, the machinery, would get used by all the precincts, and there's, I guess, I don't know,
With most of it.
that'd be another issue to.
Yeah, we've got to remember also that this is taxpayer dollars, and within the city, they're taxpayers. They contribute to the.
Well, we understand, everybody has their own.
And the machinery was donated by,
Well, not necessarily,
a big part of it. So a big part of it.
We have a very little part of it.
100,000.
100,000, yeah, we spent 300,000 for everything. Anyway, go ahead, Michael.
We're looking, I know there's some times where we need additional help on some streets that are really bad, and Commissioner was we were having discussions about those. There's also, every street in the city limits is in the county. So, and we can't get them quick enough. We also don't have the funds to get them, but there's some street work that we can do together. We purchased an asphalt dipper that allows us to get those done quicker. And as we were talking about this, I know that everybody's budgets are tight, and so, we'll buy the material we can. We don't have water truck and motor grader, and so more so personnel machinery as we're going to these small streets. That'll help out a lot, and our personnel is going to be there as well. And on the brush pickup, sometimes we get behind on that. We're, every 6 weeks we should be going through the whole county, and that's kind of hard to do. So I know the discussions were with Commissioner Gonzalez about helping Fremont out. And so that'll help us a lot too. And the city limits and Commissioner Gonzalez precinct, if he was helping on a brush pickup, we can do those pretty quick. And so we work together on these things. Like I said, it's beneficial for both of us. Everybody in the city limits is a county taxpayer, so they will benefit from those as well. And that's why we're looking at the interlocal to be able to, each one of you guys will be able to decide if you want to help out in that area. He's just going to be looking at his area.
But we're opening a can of worms. We're still going to want to grow space. been told or 3 months,
Well, Bembos accounts is already included.
well, out of, when they joined in with County Road.
The Bembos are included.
Joint County Road.
They're not
Okay, I
included.
think,
Bembos is part of it.
I think the biggest issue here is,
But I'm just saying, when our truck is there, I'm gonna have to look there. Well, it ain't gonna be fine.
But that's your decision.
But Carlos, don't you already go to Orangeville? Like, your catcher goes to Orangeville?
All the roads run into it. I'm just saying what my experience with the machines for a year, the winter cut. Winter came, and we have to stop. The oil will not stick. We have to shortchange to take reach a little bit. And now we're gonna go and catch up with, I'm just saying, slow process, and we run out of time for the weather. And the rain, which is the best.
And of course, it's up to every precinct to decide what they want to do and can't do. So, do we have any, did we vote?
no, we're gonna make some changes and,
Yeah, but we,
Yeah,
marked down what the-
oh, okay.
Our city is doing.
Yeah, okay, I don't have a problem with it. I think that the machinery that, to seal coat, that would be something that I haven't experienced, in fact, I wanted to do some myself. And I know that we have one operator and it kind of goes with it, wherever it goes, the operator follows. And so there's I don't know what kind of issues we're gonna have. But anyway, I know that I can't participate because, my budget's, about $1 million less than you guys. So it's really,
So this is number one. What number?
It would work to let a second set.
Number 19.
Some more.
yeah, number 19. The line item, says precinct 4, so that was my only issue there.
Commissioner, can you all hear me? We can add a clause down at the bottom that says that any expenses incurred shall be allocated to the precinct road and bridge fund that incurred it. Would that clarify the situation? In other words, all of y'all have some part of your precinct within the city of Alice. So if anybody wants to do this other than Commissioner Huicho, then we would allocate that expense to the particular R&D fund that incurred it. Now, when you're using a shared resource like the road machine, I don't know how, Noe, how would you allocate that?
That'd be very difficult to do. I guess they might have to, how many hours each one used it, or the manpower. I'd have to get some input from the commissioners on that to disperse it.
Yeah, it's certainly not the intent of the way I wrote it up to say we're using the Chapter 791 of the Government Code requires that interlocal agreements be made by a local political subdivision, which is the county. It's not the precinct. The precinct is a subset of the county. So it has to be the county that makes the interlocal agreement. That's not to say that the county's on the hook for the tab of anything incurred by a particular commissioner. In other words, every commissioner is going to be responsible for any work that they do under this agreement. But the agreement has to say Jim Wells County. But that doesn't mean Jim Wells County is going to pay for it. It's going to come out of the particular road and bridge fund of whoever the participant is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What I'm trying to say here, Mike, I don't understand about what you're trying to say, that the expense, if I'm gonna be picking up brush or doing construction work with equipment from precinct 4, if it's my turn to be around it, to use it, then why would it be an issue if I'm not paying for material? but the city's paying for its own material. I'm using equipment. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand how.
I think what I'm hearing you say is you don't anticipate any expenses under this agreement, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing any materials. It's just labor and equipment. That's all we're using. And we're using our own equipment. That's the agreement we had, just like we did with the LDA last year. We've added with Fremont. We're using equipment. We're hoping to fix the streets if by all means that we could have, you know. I'm not paying for, you know, the agreement that I do with Fremont. We don't pay for the material. They pay for the whole material. We do the road work and that's it.
Okay.
You know, I
So
think
then there's be an expense on your part. You're just putting the manpower and the equipment.
Yes.
Okay. So do you all want me to add that clause just so that everybody's on the same page, or do we leave it as is?
You know, I don't know, you know, like, I'm out of this one, Marco, as far as, I don't have any resources to participate. So, you know, whatever Mr. Gonzalez, Commissioner Gonzalez wants to do it.
I guess if you want, you could go ahead and put at the bottom that the precinct that incurs the budget, whatever expense that they're responsible for.
I think
You can clarify that.
I think the line item says precinct 4. So, you know, that's the only, we might have to bring this to another meeting and clarify it. You know, and see if counties can use resources in cities. You know, that's another issue. You know, so I don't have any problem as long as the commissioners in that precinct wants to do it. You know, I mean, that's all, you know, I'm all in favor of it.
I think the county wise that however you're doing right now, when you're allocating, you know, so you're doing something there, people are doing something, whether it's in the city or out of city, your county wise are going to be in your precinct anyway.
Yes.
So there's not going to be any additional expenditures for materials or anything like that. So it doesn't seem like there would be any difference on accounting on where you're going to use that as a machinery. It's, you know, your budget and that's how you use it. So the budget is machine because we have so many probably 600 miles. I can barely do 6 miles. Just think 6 miles out of 200. That was my first. And I've been trying to share with all of them so they could get, we're going to get close. Now we're saying that we're going to do some cities now. That's going to cut down that because of the weather. I was trying.
But it'll be up to a week, I mean, like, if it's his turn to use it, or he decides to.
If it's my turn to use a machine and I decide to use it within the city instead of using it in Ben Bolt, then it's my issue.
Yeah,
We're entitled to use it in our precinct, of course.
But I'm just telling you, you won't be able to do as much.
That's my choice. That's my choice.
Yeah.
And I feel that everybody in Kimball County ought to have good roads, not just certain precincts. And the money that I'm allocated,
you know,
I'm using it for that.
Yeah, you know, if it's his turn, I don't have no problem with it.
How many miles did we do already? How many compliments did you get? Big. We must stay longer over there because of that long road. I mean, we're doing the best we can. It's just that you're shortening now. We're going to pick up. I know you say over there.
For the county, if I have the machine right now, like right now I have a machine, nobody has it.
Don't you want to?
Well, Margie asked me for it.
County roads
I should have used it here.
Aren't the county roads worse shape?
From
You have one going to Sokolov there.
You know, it's you know, the Commissioner Gonzalez, you know, he has, you know, see that this could be a good project for him. You know? So, I mean, I don't have no problem with it, other than I have to, I can't participate because our budgets are from here to here, you know.
That's fine with me, I respect that, but it's like, when it's my turn right now, I'm taking the brush truck to your area to go pick a brush for you. I don't have a problem with it. You know, I went and cleaned with a stick in one here, and I don't mind. Yeah, but it should be all
We share, we share, I think, Aaron donated a truck to Margie, a dump truck, so, it's not a very good truck, but, it works. Anyway,
I make a motion that we go ahead and accept the interlocal agreement and just add the clause that whatever precinct is participating, there is.
Were the changes made? Were the changes made on it?
I think, and then on the paragraph 2, there was some corrections made, but I wrote them in so they can be fixed.
I'll second it.
Did you hear Michael?
Yes.
Both Michael.
It's,
I second it.
okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign? You're opposed? I'm for it. Okay, there's, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. These are the corrections for Michael.
Right.
Huh? Add a clause at the end. I hope it works out, Michael. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to, be able to help. It is my budget doesn't have enough in it to go very far. I shouldn't even be saying that. I'm a citizen of Alice, and I wish you all well. Okay, now let's go to the next item. Okay, item number 20, consider and take actions to extend the declaration of local disaster for public health emergency prudent section 418-108 of the Texas Government Code. Okay, we're just extending the deadline.
That's right, Commissioners. This is just an extension.
We're just extending the deadlines, Michael.
No, we're extending the declaration. Once again, this one is the same as the one we adopted May 11th, and basically we're just incorporating by reference all of the governor's orders. So we don't have anything different from whatever the governor is putting out. As far as the executive orders, those are the ones that are going to govern.
Can I ask you a question, Michael, while we're in the subject? On the fairgrounds indoors, was that changed or not? On the pavilion, the indoor renting of it. I'll talk to you later on it.
I think that is covered by, it just recently upgraded from 25% to 50%, I believe. I'll have to double check to make sure that.
Okay, I'll get with you.
You probably operate at 50% of the rated capacity.
Okay.
But I'll double check on that. And Commissioners, y'all don't have to read these resolutions, in full every time. You can just kind of, read the caption and just in the interest of time.
Anyway, I'll get with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve item number 20 is presented.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Okay. Line item number 21. Okay, consider and take actions to adopt a county courthouse safety plan to be incorporated as part of the judicial operating plan required by the Office of Court Administration.
Okay, Commissioners, the Office of Court Administration governs the judiciary in Texas and they have asked everybody, every county, to come up with a plan. We've been working with Judge Carroll and Judge Garcia to create this plan, and part of it requires the county to adopt a safety plan for the building itself, since the judges have control of their courtrooms, but the commissioner's court has control of the courthouse. Robert, if you're there, there should be Sonia Trevino in the waiting room. She wanted to present on this issue.
Sonia Trevino. Sonia Trevino. Did you get Sonia Trevino?
She's texted me that she's in the waiting room.
Is Sonia,
In the waiting room.
okay.
There she is.
She's on this? Okay.
Sorry about that, huh? Oh,
I am here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're on the issue of the courthouse operating plan. If you'd like to go ahead and address the commission.
Right. Basically, as Michael already said, the Office of Court Administration has ordered every single court to produce an operating plan. And so we have been working on it, since the very early part of May to get it done. And we think that we are there, except we need the assurances from the county to help us make sure that, that people are going to be safe when they come into the courtroom. And so Michael Guerra has drafted that, and that's what you have in front of you. And we will attach that to our operating plan, as well as the schematic of the designated seating in both the county courtroom and the district courtroom. And then the JPs will also probably have to come up with their own seating plan.
What happened, Robert?
No, I'm sorry. That was all.
Oh.
Okay. Do you all have a plan in writing? Oh, here it is.
Is it one of them?
Yeah.
You don't have it?
Huh? With the declaration. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you created this this plan, Michael.
That's right, Commissioner. We modeled it, and basically the earliest that you could submit these plans was June 1st. So a lot of counties had already submitted them, and we went online and looked at them, and we took ideas from what other counties were doing. And
okay.
And so that's basically what's in there.
Okay, is there some spending that needs to be done here also, right? As far as buying some masks and stuff that we need to.
The hand sanitizer and the mask are going to be.
Yeah. Okay, it's all in here, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
the responsibility of the county.
Okay, so I'll entertain the motion to test.
I make a motion to pass the plan.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, the line item passes. Okay, where are we at now? Line item number 22. Consider and take actions on authorization to issue requests for RFPs for administrative service and requests for qualification RFQs for engineering services related to the community development block grant mitigation grant program administered by the Texas General Land Office. Is this something that you know about?
Yes, there's monies available for mitigation. And I had contacted, the COGS have also contacted me. We have done studies, so, but we haven't gone out for RFPs or RFQs, so that was, that we needed to get that on.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve item number 20 is presented.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Okay. Line item 23, consider approving payroll and bills as submitted by county auditor.
You had already read those, huh? No, we send it.
Can you do this one back? This? Yeah, I don't know about you, actually, my vision is very blurry.
I make a motion to approve,
There's a motion,
item number
a
27.
second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Is there an exception for the line?
The exception of line item 5253.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you. No,
I make a motion to adjourn.
there's a motion, a second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.